and honors that we're going to be bestowing on some folks here. The first thing, we're going to have an invocation by Pastor Tim Dryden from the New Covenant Presbyterian Church. Welcome.
Let us pray. Lord Jesus, King of kings and Lord of lords, creator of all that exists, we honor you and praise you, recognize you are God and we are not. You're creator, we are creature. We cry out to you for your help and assistance during this council meeting. Lord, I pray that you would give these men and women consummate wisdom and integrity as they deal with all these issues. Lord, we pray for Virginia Beach, for the Commonwealth, for our nation and the globe. We pray for racial reconciliation and unity and political unity. Lord, we pray that we would live for you and govern for you, for your glory and for our good and the good of the constituents of Virginia Beach. We ask all this in the Lord's name. Amen.
Thank you. Most appreciated.
Thank you.
Pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you all very much. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have a roll call?
Yes, Mayor. All present excluding Vice Mayor Wilson.
Okay, and Ms. Wilson is out of town. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion for the certification of the closed session, please.
So moved. Second.
Okay, vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, you certify the closed session, excuse me, to be in accordance with a motion to recess.
Okay, thank you. Now going to move for a motion to approve the minutes for the special session on September 28, 2021, and the informal and formal sessions of October 5th, 2021.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Motion and a second. Vote is open.
Mr. Holcomb, Councilmember Holcomb, thank you. By a vote of 10-0, you have approved the minutes as submitted.
Okay, we have some very special acknowledgments tonight, and one of them is from a very dear colleague of this city, Reba McClannon, who sat here for many years. And, you know, I will just say that, you know, even during my rookie season here back in 2004, she was somebody that you looked up and respected, a person of compassion, caring, empathy, and community. But the one thing was her love of her family that she always talked about. A remarkable human being that is very much the foundation of why Virginia Beach is such a great city. So at this point, I asked Mr. Lewis Jones, you know, who served with Reba for many years, if he would do the kindness to express our appreciation via a resolution. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would also like to acknowledge, if I may, that Mrs. Henley also served with Mrs. McClannon, and so did Mr. Moss. And so I know they joined with me in the reading of this resolution with the council. And the family is here.
Please come on up, come forward.
Come up if you would, please. Where would you like it?
Yeah, right at the podium.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. This resolution reads, whereas Reba S. McClannon earned a bachelor's degree from Berea College and a master's degree from Virginia Tech, and whereas Reba taught school for several years before seeing the impact that a committed public servant could make when she was the first woman to run for office in the city of Virginia Beach. And whereas after being unsuccessful in her first attempt to serve on city council, Reba built a base of support through civic engagement that led to her being the first woman elected in the city of Virginia Beach, representing the former Princess Anne Borough from 1980 to 1992 and 1996 to 1998. The Rose Hall District from 1998 to 2008, as well as served 2 years as the vice mayor, a total of 24 years. And whereas Reva served as past president of the Virginia Beach City Council of Civic Organizations, I want to make sure it's under the mic here. Whereas Reva served as past president of the Virginia Beach Council of Civic Organizations, Virginia Beach Friends of the Library, and Friends of the Francis Land House, as chair of both the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission and the Southern Planning District Commission, Southeastern Planning District Commission, and as a Virginia Beach court docent for 20 years. And whereas Reva's dedication to the beautification of our city is unsurpassed, and her efforts include service as past president of the Virginia Beach Council of Garden Clubs and Virginia Urban Forest Council, founder of the Virginia Beach Clean Community Commission, and on the Virginia Beach Beautification Commission. And whereas on December 9th, 2008, the Fragrance Garden at Red Wing Park, created in 1972 to provide a public garden for sight-impaired individuals, with the plant material selected for the fragrance of the foliage or blossom, was renamed the Reba S. McClannon Fragrance Garden. And whereas Reba's dedication and contribution to the community have been recognized through numerous awards, including the Virginia Beach Human Rights Award, Virginia Beach Council of Gardens Award of Distinction, the NAACP Image Award for Community Service, the Most Valuable Person Award from the Princess Anne Plaza Civic League, and the Toastmasters District 66 Award for Leadership in Public Service. And whereas Reba was known as the voice of the underdog, as she was resolute in her convictions that the city could both grow and do it with standards, as her ideology was not partisan and was based on the idea of a more engaged and livable community. Now therefore be it resolved, on August 29th, 2021, Reba passed away, leaving a rich living legacy as a champion for maintaining green spaces and flora, as well as her decades of civic leadership and dedication that is duly recognized and applauded. And now therefore be it further resolved that the City Council hereby honors the memory of Reba S. McClannon and extends condolences to her family, friends, and loved ones in memory of Reba S. McClannon, adopted by the Council of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia, the 19th day of October 2021, and presented this resolution duly signed by each member of the Virginia Beach City Council, and with a copy spread upon the minutes of this meeting. I just want to say that I served with Reba for many years, as well as these other two council people, and she was a great person to serve with. She was a beautiful person to serve with, and I'm proud to have done so, and I'm sure they are too.
You bet.
Please.
If you all stay up just for a second, I'm going to bring this down for you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Come on, folks, let's make it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Your dad was a piece of work too, by the way.
That
They
he
were
was.
one of the original power couples.
Thank you.
It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for doing it. It's a great honor. Thank you. Nice to see you. Oh, thank you very much. I really, thank you so
My privilege
much.
to represent the Rose Hall District
Oh,
now, and I hear so many wonderful things about
Oh,
the
thank you.
impact you made on our community.
Well, thank you so much. All right. This is so kind.
Call me if you ever need anything.
Okay, well, okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for honoring her today. It means so much to us.
I learned things.
Wow, right. No, they were quite a team. That's
She was one of those people who was there.
Hey, please say some words, please. Introduce yourself and just say a few words.
Hi, I'm Martin McClannon. I'm Reba's eldest son, and with my sister Ann and brother Glenn. Two of us live in Oregon, one lives in New York, and we were just so honored that you all were willing to taking this time to honor our mother. She cared so deeply about this city, and she spent. I mean, it was never work for her. It was always just a personal passion, and she so loved the ability to work with this group of people to try to solve the city's problems. My mom was really driven by a spirit of community, and she really believed that by getting together and engaging one-on-one, that you could pretty much solve anything. And I honor the spirit of what you all do, and I hope you continue to do the good work that she so believed in and so appreciated about this council. So thank you.
Let me just say thank you for sharing your mother with us.
And can I ask a question? Where was the beauty parlor she got all her community intel from?
She actually followed the beautician around to 3 different beauty parlors.
Okay.
And that's a much longer story.
Hey, thank you all. God bless you, and thanks for making a trip. Okay, Mr. Bellucci, you are on deck now. If you can kindly acknowledge another great community activity here in Virginia Beach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to invite all the folks from the Karit Shah Temple Premier League to come to the front, to step to the podium, please. Thank you. Whereas cricket is a ball and bat game played between 2 teams of 11 players on a field, at the center of which is a 22-yard pitch with a wicket at each end, each comprising 2 bails balanced on 3 stumps. This game can be compared with the popular American game of baseball. The batting side scores runs by striking the ball bowled at the wicket with the bat and running between the wickets, while the bowling and fielding side tries to prevent this by preventing the ball from leaving the field and getting the ball to either wicket, and dismiss each batter so they were out. And whereas currently the growing cricket market in the United States consists of approximately 30 million fans, the sport is primarily followed in the Indian subcontinent, New Zealand, Australia, the United Kingdom, Southern Africa, and the West Indies. And whereas Hampton Roads Cricket Organization is an amateur cricket club located in Chesapeake, operating under the Hindu Temple of Hampton Roads. Under this club, 2 teams, TWCC and TACC, participate in Mid-Atlantic Cricket Conference as well as other local tournaments in the area. And whereas Karit Shah Temple Premier League is a professional T20 cricket league founded by HRCO in 2021, inspired by the world's biggest T10 cricket tournament, the Indian Premier League. HRCO President Sanjay Patel and TPL founder Janish Patel brainstormed this idea after the Tidewater Cricket Club won the Mid-Atlantic Cricket Conference Championship in 2019. The inaugural season has 5 teams participating and supported by more than 20 vendors. And whereas the TPL will continue to increase awareness of the game of cricket in the Hampton Roads area, the fast-paced tournament matches with the high quality level in the players in each of the 5 teams are aimed to offer an exciting morning or afternoon to the spectators in hopes to market and attract visitors to these games and bring awareness of the game of cricket. And whereas the future of TPL looks bright, with plans to host charity games and tournaments and thereby promote sports activities and community service, the long-term intent of the league is to see that the community at large will be benefited both in financial support for the regional sports chapters and to provide quality tournaments and entertain the crowd with the exciting game of cricket. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Virginia Beach City Council pause in its deliberations to recognize the Kareet Shah Temple Premier League for their efforts to maintain and grow the game of cricket while developing community relationships with the players, fans, sponsors, and community at large. Adopted by the City Council of Virginia Beach on the 19th day of October, and present a copy of this resolution duly signed by each member of the council and with a copy spread upon the minutes of this meeting. Congratulations. Mayor, would you like to,
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, good on you. Good inaugural year.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Would you like to just pause for a photo?
Oh.
Congratulations. Thank you. If you'd like to say a few words,
And to thank you to all in your, please say something.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. It's been really great honor. Cricket has been playing around here in Hampton Roads area, I think, since last 20 years. My late father-in-law, he was really biggest fan of sport of cricket. And we were able to part of TPL 2021. So it's been really great honor for all of us, and hope it will serve that we were able to promote more cricket in this Hampton Road areas. So thank you so much once again, everyone.
And thank you, all the members of your community, for being such a vital part of our community. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, one more. I was supposed to do a proclamation at Mount Trashmore last Saturday, but it didn't work out. But, to honor a particular group, I think you will appreciate this. Proclamation. Whereas the white cane, which every blind citizen of our state and city has the right to carry, demonstrate and symbolizes the ability to achieve a full and independent life and the capacity to work productively in a competitive employment. And the white cane, by allowing every blind person to be more freely and safely move to place, makes it possible for the blind to fully participate and contribute to our society and to live the lives that they want. Every citizen should be aware of the law that requires that motorists and cyclists exercise appropriate caution when approaching a blind person carrying a white cane. Whereas Virginia law also calls upon employers, both public and private, to be aware and utilize the employment skills of blind citizens by recognizing their worth as individuals and their productive capacities. And whereas the state of Virginia, through the public agencies and with cooperative assistance of the Chesapeake chapter of the National Federation of Blind of Virginia, can and should facilitate the expansion of employment opportunities for the greater acceptance of blind persons in the competitive labor market. Therefore, I, Bobby Dyer, Mayor, do hereby, I had declared October 15th, 2021 as White Cane Awareness Day. Once again, more valuable members of our society. Thank you all so much for that. Yeah, I tell you what, I think the council feels it's an honor to honor people. And thank you all for, once again, you help make us a great city, all of you. Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're going to move on to public comment for...
Mayor, excuse
Yes.
me, just for the public to know that the resolution for Captain Snodgrass has been rescheduled at the request of his family.
Okay. Oh, yeah,
until
my apologies.
until
Yep.
November. Thank you.
That'll be coming up on 11/9. But thank you all very much. And I thank the gallery for their patience, and thank you for help with the honoring. Okay, at this point, we have public comment on the 2022 proposed legislative agenda. Any speakers?
Yes, sir. First speaker is Barbara Messner, and after Ms. Messner is Latasha Holloway.
Good evening.
Good evening. I couldn't hear the reason that the new vice mayor isn't here. Did someone, I couldn't hear what you said.
No, she's out of town.
Right. Okay. Legislative agenda. Okay, I believe part of this, it's hard to go over the whole thing. It was a 990-page agenda. I'm lucky to have the brief because it's a lot of pages for a lot of events for one evening. And I think it ties in with Mr. Rouse's comments about, you know, term limits and conflicts. So yeah, we need stronger conflict laws, and I do oppose people being, working for the city at the same time, you know, or having, you know, let their law firms or whatever, you know, be paid by the city. And on the proposed bond referendum, I propose, you know, we're not involved in the legislation. Y'all decide what you want. Propose that all referendums be binding and not $1 of taxpayer money be used for signs and ads in publications. It's just like you would be running ads for one of your fellow members that was running for office. This is what you want, you know, $567 million for the first phase. And I think some of the things that y'all do while in office are a violation of the Hatch Act. So, and a lot of the people in the legislature were past council members, and y'all helped, you know, get them in office. So, thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Latasha Holloway. After Ms. Holloway is Brock Beckstead.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Honorable Mayor and members of council, as an agent of change, excuse me, that's better. As an agent of change and a woman fighting for equity in the city of Virginia Beach, I have made the decision to run for mayor of the city of Virginia Beach in 2022. It's important that I continue to lead the charge to end corruption and wasteful spending in our city. I want included in the city's legislative agenda that is currently in the development stage with the Virginia General Assembly to give the city of Virginia Beach power to institute term limits. In addition to providing a budget for each and every district or ward from the city's overall operating budget. I understand this would require a change in Virginia's code, and others may also require a multi-year process of amending the state's constitution. But I'm here as a beacon of light for my city to say, we can do it. Since we have to do it anyway, we have to comply with the upcoming district court's decision, we can be proactive and we can do the things that we need to do instead of panicking. We can make the right choice now and not have to rush later. And I thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Brock Beckstedt, and then Dorothy Patterson. Sarah Brock Bedstedt. Dorothy Patterson.
Good evening.
I am here to speak in strong support of Councilman Rouse's call for term limits on City Council, as well as a prohibition against any employee who works for the city in any capacity from serving in elected office. The Council's use and abuse of the appointment process, perpetual office holding, and merry-go-round system, appointing the same people who then get elected for continuous office holding or who then get appointed to powerful boards, has shut out the Virginia Beach voter completely. Term limits will go a long way to correct this abuse. The median age in this city is 36.6 years old. Half our residents are older, half are younger. 2 members of this council have been in office for longer than the age of over half the population. Mr. Rouse, that means 2 of your colleagues have been holding their seats since before you were born. Term limits can fix that. In addition, another 4 members of this council were first appointed, not elected. After you were appointed, 2 of you almost immediately opened campaign accounts to begin collecting donations for your run for office, even after one stated in writing that he had no intention of running for office. Appointees have used the process and power of incumbency to guarantee a win for the same seat they occupy at election time over and over again. This ensures the perpetual hold on power in this city. Term limits can help fix it. Anyone who is paid all or part of their salary from city government should be ineligible to be appointed or elected to office. This is a common sense avoidance of even the appearance of conflicts of interest, at least to most people. This common sense seems to have escaped the collective wisdom of this body. A federal judge recently ruled that the election system in Virginia Beach is unconstitutional, a system that has been in place for decades, but no one on this council ever sought to address the issue and fix it. I believe there are more problems. Appointees to council are required to fill a vacancy on a temporary basis when a council member leaves office without finishing their term. Appointees are ineligible to run for that seat. Running for election gives them an unfair, unbalanced advantage over other candidates for that seat, and it is unconstitutional. This abuse has been going on for many years and must stop. Term limits will go a long way to correct many of these problems.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Is there Brock Beckstedt in the room?
Yeah, that's me. I'm sorry. I was supposed to meet the city deputy clerk there to go over this stuff, so I might have to improvise. Okay, my name is Brock Beckstedt. I've been living in the city for over 50 years. I want to address the conflicts of interest that Holcomb and Rouse had brought up, and I think Mr. Rouse is completely right about conflicts of interest. Norman, who they call Rocky, still has an ego, come over from the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department, one of the family members, Stoley's, has committed a serious moral ethical crime. And for him to get over here when the lady Rosemary passed, for him to slip right in there into the seat is beyond my comprehension. My mother, years ago, got the first group home started here in Virginia Beach for the mentally retarded and epileptic. Today, Mr. Kenneth Chandler, Assistant City Manager, has not investigated. I've spoke to him many times, and his underlings, Arlene Smith, who is the Director of Human Services, and others, about finding abuse on my brother. I found my brother, who's in the care of the Department of Human Services, beaten. And nobody will investigate. It's all cover-ups. Even took him down to the hospital. The emergency room covered it up. I got a police officer out of the 3rd Precinct, female, come out and view the beatings on my brother front and back. My brother Brian, that my mother got the home started here in Virginia Beach, is dead. She be rolling over in her grave. And it's me, his youngest brother, to see that justice is done here in the city. My father now is senile dementia, Alzheimer's type, is being politically taken away out of society, away from me, and found him, again, abused by the hands of Jewish Family Services and the Department of Human Services. I want to let y'all know, most of y'all on this, Ms. Wooten, Bobby Dwyer, the butterfly catcher, Holcomb, Moss, I had a conversation years ago about me doing postings with the United States Post Office, and there were signs out on the streets, people illegally advertising, and you said, well, they were trying to make a buck. Well, you know what? I paid thousands of dollars to do it legally, and you have a bad, wrong attitude for the city. And like the last woman talked about, there's got to be a change. And I know the light's blinking, that means my time's up. And I'll be back. But I want you to know, politicians are like diapers. They all got to be changed for the same reason.
Thank you, sir.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay. All right, next we're going to move on to a public hearing for the acquisition of agricultural land preservation, ARP easement, installation purchase agreement for 50.15 acres at 1808 Nanny Creeks Roads.
We have 2 speakers, Barbara Messner. And then Latasha Holloway will be after Ms. Messner.
Good evening. Okay. ARP, Agricultural Reserve Program. You know, and so many people ran saying, oh, we'll, I need to hold this up. You know, y'all usually back it off or have it from the back, but I assume that you will show this, you know, before it's uploaded elsewhere. Okay, I oppose the ARP program. It's a conflict of interest. Ms. Henley, Mr. Barry Knight, Mr. DeSteth, others, you know, they own this land. They, you know, then they can sell it to developers. And I attended one of the bond referendums that Ms. Henley had, and she said that, you know, Dominion, a lovely Dominion, you know, that they want to buy some of this property. We should not have a monopoly energy company. We shouldn't have monopoly phone companies. And this would involve 561,680 taxpayer dollars, new debt, on top of the $3 billion debt you have, and the $567 million for the first phase. First phase of this. Those signs out there are illegal. You should not be advertising at the Municipal Center, in Princess Anne Independent News. You know, even Barry Knight has paid political ad at the top, and you can see at the bottom. And that publication takes donations. How can a true publication, a journalist, take donations from anybody? So this is 50 acres, you know, which reminds me of the open space. Y'all always talk about open space. That's just a catchphrase. You develop it later on. But this is called treasury strips. We have debt, and we should never, ever take out more debt on the people who live here. It's usually the middle class and the poor that pay the taxes. Everybody else has loopholes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Holloway, Latasha Holloway.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to address the citizens of the city of Virginia Beach in this moment. I can think of 1,000,001 things that can be done with that money other than buying land from your constituents. I'm running for mayor because a vote for me is how we purge this city of the toxic energy and corruption that has plagued us for generations. We must demand an end to wasteful spending. We must say yes to a balanced budget and an end to the debt hikes that this body does not seem to care about because it's not their dollars, it's the citizens' dollars. Fire them all. And together we can do it. Together we can end the toxic energy. Together we can. Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, at this point, the speaker policy. I want to remind everyone that the City Council speaker policy that allows certain representatives of groups to speak for 10 minutes applies only to planning items. All other speakers, whether speaking individually or on behalf of a group, will have 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are reminded that comments during the formal portion of the meeting must be limited to the subject of the item that is being considered by the council at the time you are called. When speakers are called on each item, the clerk will call those individuals who have been assigned to speak. We have several items with only one speaker signed up. As such, the city clerk will call the speaker and identify each item they have registered on. The speaker will receive 3 minutes to comment on each item. Again, the speaker must limit his or her comments to the subject matter of the items they have signed up to speak. Finally, I call upon all speakers and all persons in the chamber to be civil in their discussion and decorum. Whatever views you hold and wish to express, the City Council wants to hear from you and to ensure that all viewpoints and all persons are respected. The best way to do this is for all of us to strive for civility and respect. Madam Clerk, we have speakers?
Yes, Ms. Messner.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before you begin, because it relates to what matters may and may not be on your consent agenda, specifically with respect to planning item L2, during the informal, you had discussed potentially putting that on your consent agenda with modified language. I have looked at the code. Section 107 of your code says, and I quote, "No proffer shall be modified or added by the City Council unless such modified or added proffer is contained in a conditional zoning agreement meeting the requirements of this section that was received by the planning director no later than the close of business 10 days prior to, but not including the date of the public hearing." Proffer number 9 is the proffer that sets forth the setbacks here. You could remove that proffer, but under the section I just read, you may not change it. Proffer number 1 says that the property is hereby removed and released from the existing proffers. So you would either need to change number 1 so that the existing proffers as to setbacks would remain, or you would need to change number 9 to make those setbacks what they were before. In either event, you would be modifying a proffer, and that cannot be done unless the agreement with that language was in the planning director's office 10 days prior. So if you want to make that change, you certainly can make it, but you would need to defer the item for 2 weeks so that the modified conditional zoning agreement could be on record 10 days in advance.
Okay.
And Mayor, we have speakers now on L2, so we would have to pull that
Okay.
anyway.
Okay, great.
So Ms. Messner is the only speaker signed up for Ordinance and Resolutions 1, 3, 4, and 5. Ms. Messner?
Please wait till I get up here so I can make the notes. Okay, so which ones are pulled? that I
No, the
can't
ones
see?
you're speaking on now are 1, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. 1, 3, 4, and 5. Everything else is pulled?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I think it's important to note, good evening, Mr. Dyer and Mr. Jones. I think it's important to note that very few people show up. Part of the reason we have voting, you have meetings all the time. You know, all your special meetings. This meeting should be at the convention center, so we can attend the informal as well. Like I said, it's really sad. The gentleman, I've heard that story before about, you know, what happened to his family. You show compassion for other people, but you don't show it for certain people. And it's pretty sad that someone with those serious problems has to come here. Okay, so 1, I've already spoken on agricultural reserve and the debt bonds, so that saves a little bit of time. And at least one of the new speakers that hasn't been here, excellent, excellent speech. You know, and the lady, Miss Holloway, you know, she has some great ideas. You know, the money shouldn't be, you shouldn't be spending air money for any private developer. Pardon?
Oh, sir,
Okay,
please.
I thought it was only y'all.
Please
Okay.
hold comment. We really appreciate it, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, no new debt. Stop corporate welfare. You've turned corporate welfare in the bidding system into CIP projects, and then you give the projects, including, you know, Mr. Dyer, I attended the event at the convention center. You know, patriotic. You know, the Ballard construction contract, there's nothing over there for our vets. I cleaned it up and I put flowers there. Not one person had anything there. It wasn't even cleaned up. There were dead flowers from whenever it was left. So, anyway, the next item?
I'm not sure which item were you on.
You said, I could only speak
Item
on
1, I
one.
believe.
That was
Under
on, was that 1?
Okay. And then,
We're on to item number 3.
okay. Okay, ordinance to authorize acquisition of property in fee simple and acquisition of temporary and permanent, you know. easements either by agreement or condemnation. We shouldn't be condemning any property. Yes, the Nemo Parkway Phase 7 CIP should be taken care of. There's been horrific fatalities there. But we shouldn't have to pay for your mistakes and your failures on infrastructure. Every single person that's neglected their infrastructure for something, no offense, but something in the water is a reward party, and you're desperate, to put that back on again. You pay $250,000 to most people. Everybody thinks that these promoters pay for it. You pay them. You paid millions for something in the water, plus free venues. We don't get a free venue. The people that go to the school board, they're not even allowed inside. So I'm opposed to eminent domain abuse in a different manner. Yes, we need roads, but you've been taking money from the victim families. There's still, I don't know what this thing is that I'm attached to. Okay. There's still no memorial for the victim families. And all these tacky statues moved all over the place. And you're going to appoint more people. The victim family should be the only commission deciding on where and the memorial goes. You spent money. So I'm opposed to how you do the budget. And I need a timeout for, here, it's off. What is this thing that
Please put it back.
Please put it on the,
please, I asked what it was. I don't know what it is.
it's a microphone for a TV camera.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want to break it. All right, so the next item?
Number 4.
4, okay. Authorize acquisition of temporary and permanent easements either by agreement or condemnation, Thalia Creek Greenway Phase 3 Project CIP. This is just a trail. It's more money. You don't take care of the infrastructure. When I keep driving by where the old Farm Fresh used to be, which was put out of business partly because of their subsidies to Aldi's and Lidl's, taxpayer subsidies to German companies, Steel Chainsaw. Does anybody have any idea what a footprint they have? Okay. So this isn't a necessity, and we need all the money, all the projects to go to preventing crime in every neighborhood, fixing the roads, these potholes, and that Breeden project, with the tall, I don't know how tall that's going to be, but is that why, you're sending the firemen to, in case there's a building collapse? We have sinkholes. You're building on wetlands. You're destroying our property, and you're allowing this development. Okay, so is that the last one?
Number 5.
Number 5. Temporary encroachments, city-owned property known as Treasure Canal, located at the rear of 2224 Windshore Drive, to construct and maintain riprap, boat lift, aluminum ramp, 2 wood piers, and a floating wood dock. So if people want to, add something or change, what they agreed to when they purchased the property, they should not be able to take over city property. Okay, so is that it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move for approval under the consent agenda, first under ordinances and resolutions. Item 1, which is ordinance to authorize A, acquisition of an agricultural land preservation easement from Bonnie Woodhouse Crane, 50.15 acres, more or less. B, issuance by the city of its contract obligation in the maximum principal amount of $561,680. And C, transfer funds to purchase U.S. Treasury strips. Clerk would please note that Mr. Moss is voting no on that item.
Yes, sir.
Item 3, under ordinances, ordinance to authorize acquisition of property in fee simple and acquisition of temporary and permanent easements, either by agreement or condemnation, Ray Sandbridge Road, Nemo Parkway, Phase 7A, Project CIP 100356. Item 4, ordinance to authorize acquisition of temporary and permanent easements, either by agreement or condemnation, Ray Thalia Creek Greenway, Phase 3 Project, CIP 100415. Item 5, ordinance to authorize temporary encroachments into a portion of city-owned property known as Treasure Canal, located at the rear of 2224 Windward Shore Drive, reconstruct and maintain riprap, boat lift, aluminum ramp, 2 wood piers, and a floating wood deck. So moved, Mr. Mayor.
There are no planning items on consent, therefore, we have a motion to approve the, on consent, the items listed under ordinances and resolution. The vote is open.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Hey, could we speak up? I
No,
can't
oh,
hear
please,
you back.
please, sir. Thank you.
I can't hear you back.
Sir, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Close it.
Yes.
on item K6, I'll be abstaining on item K6.
That's not what
Not on consent.
Okay.
This is just for consent agenda.
Okay.
Can I get your vote, Councilmember Holcomb? Thank you. By a vote of 10-0, you have approved the consent agenda as read by Councilmember Jones.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to item K2, the resolution to ratify amendments to the bylaws, Ray Community Services Board.
The first speaker is Barbara Messner. And after Ms. Messner is Brock Bedstedt.
Yeah, that's me.
Sir.
This is
Sir,
Val.
Sir, please, please, you'll have your chance.
In all fairness, Mr. Jones, you whisper, some of the other people whisper, and it is hard to hear. I'm just saying, for everyone's sake, I sit close because I can't see or hear that well. And even sitting there, you know, it looks like this is turned off.
Oh, Ms. Messner, please.
Mr. Dyer, please. Okay? There aren't that many people here. Okay, Ms. Barnes, which item?
Okay, K2, resolution to
Ratify the bylaws, Ray Community Service Board. Okay, part of the problem is, like I said, there isn't enough information in here. We don't have enough time to go over this. You're always amending bylaws. You know, any change to our bylaws, any ordinance changes, it used to take weeks, you know, months. You didn't just put it up on a Friday and then vote on it. And, you know, a lot of people do not read the Beacon. They might buy the Beacon for the sports or the real estate ads, but everybody doesn't look in the back. You used to have like a half page for the agenda. You don't have that now, and you know it goes over in all these other columns. You don't always have the logo, so you could go a long way to, you know, helping with communication in the city. So Anyway, that's all I'll say on that item.
Thank you.
Mr. Beckstead,
Yeah, and what's the topic? What's the question?
this is regarding the Community Services Board.
Okay, the Community Service Board. They're the ones that make the decisions in the city, is that correct, for the people? I'm not sure because I was supposed to, when I talked to the city clerk, they said to meet the city assistant clerk here at the door and go over it, but she was nowhere to be found. I came here early looking for her. I was going to get some information. But the Community Service Board, I guess that has to do with the human services. Is that correct? Can somebody answer me? Or do we have to go out on the picket sign and start picketing? Because come November 2nd, there's going to be a lot of change. Norman, please. Bobby, you have been disrespectful. I can't hear you. I asked you and you
Okay,
shut
sir,
me down.
sir, can you
I'll go sit down because you know what? You're the first one that's going to be leaving. The butterfly catcher. Miss Wooten, you got to check your criminal record. You got a lot of bills to pay.
Okay, sir, you're out of order, sir.
Styles, I know who you are. You're abusing.
Sir, you're out of order.
I'm going to leave. I'll leave. You don't have to.
Okay,
That's all the speakers said.
that's all the speakers. Okay, at this point, do we have a motion on this?
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of item K2 is a resolution to ratify the amendments to the bylaws for Rate Community Services Board.
Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? Vote is open.
By a vote of 10 to 0, you've adopted the resolution.
Okay, we're moving on to the ordinance number 6, ordinance to accept and appropriate $1,256,276 from the State Compensation Board to the Sheriff's fiscal year 2021-22 operating budget, rate $3,000 bonuses to deputies.
Barbara Messner is the first speaker. Mr. Beckstead, who just left, was the second speaker.
Okay.
Ms. Messner?
Okay, ordinance to accept and appropriate $1,256,276 from the State Compensation Board to the Sheriff's 2021 through 2022 operating budget, rate $3,000 bonuses to deputies. Yeah, we really need to work on management and leadership for police, fire, and rescue. And in 2018, they asked for, the pay compression, all the problems. They asked for help, and you've ignored them. And now they're leaving in droves. 3,000 in bonuses for deputies. There are a lot of departments that get bonuses. When people sign up, you should either get overtime, but like the convention center, they get big bonuses. The school superintendent gets bonuses. So I just think we need to work on a new budget. Thank you.
That's all the speakers.
Okay, at this point, do we have a motion on item number 6?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any
Mayor.
discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is pursuant to the Virginia Conflict of Interest Act, Section 2.2-3115, Section F of the Code of Virginia. I'm going to abstain on this item, and I have a letter on file with the clerk.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion? Vote is open.
You say you're abstaining, you've given one up.
Councilmember Branch, may I have your vote, please?
Aye.
You can press your button. It's still open. Thank you. By a vote of 9 to 0, you adopted the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. All righty. And the final one is number 7, ordinance to accept $136,429,703 from the American Rescue Act coronavirus and local fiscal recovery funds and appropriate $82,063,098 to the Stormwater and Parks and Recreation Infrastructure and Facilities Capital Projects.
We have two speakers, Barbara Messner. After Ms. Messner will be Latasha Holloway.
It really is frustrating when you move everything around. Okay, so which item is this?
Number 7.
7, all right. You're much better than you used to be. As far as knowing what's going on. Sorry. I remember when Jim Wood had to help you with everything. Okay. Ordinance to accept $136,429,703 from American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA. Coronavirus. Do you have any idea how many times y'all have played the on-off mask game? We don't have to wear masks here, but, you know, the schools, schools are being used for shots, masks. There should be consistency, because we pay for the schools. It should be the same rules, and we shouldn't, as Mr. Moss said, which they haven't done anything yet, we shouldn't be paying, for their legal fees. Our city attorneys. Good evening, Mr. Branch. You've been very nice and polite and quiet.
Yeah, he's the new guy, yeah.
He's not the new guy. There's nothing new about Linwood Branch. Okay. Like I said, we've misused mass shooting money, the coronavirus, and we don't hear very much about, the mass shooting. Everyone here, there's mass shootings in Virginia Beach. We don't have a great reputation, and you wonder why people don't want to work at the ocean front? Okay. Local fiscal recovery. Appropriate $82 million to stormwater. Coronavirus to stormwater. And you want the bonds. Parks and Rec. Use Parks and Recs for all these events and for bringing new palm trees from Florida every 1 or 2 years. Recreation infrastructure. You already use Public-Private Education Act, and we pay taxes on Parks and Rec. And facilities capital projects. I'm opposed. Thank you.
Ms. Holloway?
Welcome back.
Thank you. I'd just like to take an opportunity to thank Ms. Messner. This city owes a debt of gratitude to Ms. Messner for shining light on the misappropriation of funds that this body has taken part in for generations. As mayor of the city of Virginia Beach, one of the first acts that I plan on doing is to facilitate a federal audit. For our citizens, that means they may not get all the tax dollars that this body has fleeced over the generations. However, they will take pride and privilege in watching some of you walk away in handcuffs. Thank you and have a blessed night.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, and at this point, do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Second, I'd just like to say a few words if I could.
Yes.
This is for the larger public and those who are here. I think often the city council, deserves criticism now and then, but I think what we've done with this $139 million of one-time money is right in alignment with what we've heard the people ask us to do. $44 million in cash, one-time spent, is going to help us eliminate the backlog in ditch and canal and pond maintenance. Will it do it all? But we put 31%, I believe, Mr. City Manager, of all the money we've received went to what we think our highest priority is. We've also heard from our residents who live in neighborhoods about their parks that have been neglected many of these years, and we are putting a substantial sum, I see Michael out there in the audience, a substantial sum into parks. And we've heard about opportunities about moving the relocation of the old Nike site, getting that Parks Recreation so we can have that site maybe for another use that will align with some priorities. But everything we've used this cash for is we're buying forward unfunded requirements that we didn't have in our CIP. I think that's fair, correct, Mr. City Manager? That we have heard from residents ask us that we could fund. And we're funding those without having to raise taxes. And I want to remind people, last year we adopted a revenue neutral tax rate. So I think this council has done a very good job in being a good steward these last 3 budget cycles. And I just want people to know that we put our cash where the people told us we had things we needed to take care of, but we just couldn't fund. So I would be remiss, Mr. Mayor, if I'm not patting ourselves on the back, but I think we should take public credit for the good job we did.
Okay, anybody else?
Mayor.
Ms. Henley and then Mr. Brown.
I was just going to say, I'm going to be abstaining on item K7. I have a letter on file with the city clerk.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I certainly agree with the $44,880,000 going to stormwater projects. The $37,183,000 going to other city facilities and asset backlog repair. I'm sure everything in there is needed, but I'm not sure they are the priorities that are needed, and I really regret that the city council didn't have an opportunity to get briefed on each of these items and have input. I think some of us did suggest other things which didn't make the cut, and this is really coming from staff, and I certainly have a respect for staff, but I would have liked to have had some input. I'm a little disappointed in the other of it, but this is money that I guess we have to allocate, and maybe we get another chance to, or we have to appropriate, and we get another chance to have some input in the funding, but I'm disappointed in this process.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else at this point? Okay, vote is open for approval.
By a vote of 9-0, you have adopted the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. We're going to open a public hearing on planning. An item L1, Murphy's of Virginia Beach, Stephen Yun Yi Family LLC for a special exception for alternative compliance rate, convert a portion of the parking lot into a permanent outdoor space dining area and space for new uses at 2914 Pacific Avenue.
Billy Garrington for the applicant.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, for the record, Billy Garrington on behalf of the applicant. The applicant in this case is Murphy's of Virginia Beach. I have Mr. Tom Mooney, who is the owner, operator of the restaurant, here with me today. We are here today, this evening, to ask you for this approval of this alternate compliance, recurring outdoor activities at this restaurant at 2914 Pacific Avenue. If you read in the staff report, you would see how any of these recurring outdoor events we were having, if it was individually, could have been considered an accessory use to the restaurant. But when you put them all together, staff made the recommendation that we should come here and get the alternative compliance. That's the reason why we are here this evening to ask for your approval. Your staff has come up with a staff report that has 9 conditions in the staff report. I want to tell you that we're in total agreement with all 9 of those conditions. And I hope that you have especially taken a look at condition number 3. Condition number 3 says that we have to be a good neighbor, good citizen with regard to noise, with regard to light, and with regard to traffic. And we do have opposition that is complaining about some of the noise that has taken place in the area. I don't think it's coming from us, but I can't say for sure where it is coming from, so I'm not going to say that it's coming from anybody else. We also have been to the RAC, the Resort Area Advisory Committee. RAC has given us their approval. We have been to the Planning Commission. We had opposition at the Planning Commission, and Planning Commission approved it 10-0. When we were at Planning Commission was the first time that we knew that we had opposition from the owner of the apartment complex to the southwest of our location. I had told the Planning Commission members that we, me and Mr. Mooney and I, would meet with the opposition try and discuss the project, tell him how it was designed, and see if we could change his opposition. We did meet with him on site. We explained to him how the stage that we are building is faced to the southeast, away from his property, which is located on the southwest, so that any noise that would emanate or could emanate from the project would go towards the ocean front, would not go towards his property. We also told him about the sound muffling measures that are being built into this project with the roof and the walls of it. That's designed by Iconic Design. We explained all that to him. He's still here tonight in opposition, which he has a right to be, and I don't have a problem with that. Also, with regards to noise complaints, Mr. Mooney checked with the 2nd Precinct. Going all the way back to 2018, which is far back as their records go, there has not been one single noise complaint against Murphy's Restaurant. So the noise is probably coming from somewhere else in the vicinity, and I'm not sure where. We also have 6 letters of support on record with your staff of residents that live along Baltic Avenue and 30th Street, especially the restaurant right across the street from us, which is called Atlantic on Pacific. In his letter, he specifically states that on the nights that Mr. Murphy does have outdoor music, his walk-in traffic goes up significantly. So we're not a detriment to the surrounding properties. We're an asset to the surrounding properties. This is at the ocean front. We have designed this building to where any noise that comes from it will go away from the residential areas and not towards the people that are here in opposition. So again, there are 9 conditions in the staff write-up. We're in total agreement with all 9 of those conditions. We're here tonight to ask for your approval of this last request that we need.
Thank you.
I'll be glad to answer any questions that you
Any
missed.
questions at this point? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have 2 speakers, Barbara Messner, and after Ms. Messner is Morris Fine. Mr. Fine, there's someone before you. 1 second. Thank you, sir.
How interesting. Morris Fine, Runnymede, ties in with all this other stuff. Murphy's Virginia Beach. Okay. Exception to alternative compliance. The entire oceanfront is bar industry, entertainment industry. You know, I can't even go to Harris Teeter. I can't go to the post office without blasting music everywhere. And I think Kevin Martingale filed a lawsuit, you know, on the noise ordinance a while back. And the reason that y'all don't do the ordinance is because of all the problems with the amphitheater. And you have loud concerts. So if there's a noise ordinance, you're not going to have your concerts on the beach. Okay, we don't have sidewalks. You say the sidewalks are for skateboards. We don't have a bike path. That's for those rolling Surrey things, which are extremely dangerous. They go anywhere. There's no enforcement. We have a very unsafe, chaotic city. We don't have enough police. The police aren't allowed to enforce anything. We had a state law against drinking and serving in public. When you put cafes and people in the bars, these businesses, they expand into parking lots. It's insane. You can't use a parking lot as part of a business. They're supposed to have a restaurant license, and they're supposed to be inside. And stage, I mean, why does everybody have to have entertainment? Just because, we brought this up with the short-term rentals, and I guess we're going to have, you know, my rep, Mr. Tower, who's never responded to one email. You're for all of this. Beach District, Mr. Tower. 29th and Pacific. I mean, all this ties up traffic. There's no parking. So I'm in opposition to the continual special accommodations for the brewery industry, especially during the pandemic, which should be lifted now. They should not be in parking lots. They should not be taking over the sidewalks. like Bay Locals in Laskin. I think they helped Mr. Bellucci. Thank you.
Mr. Fine?
Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, I'm Morris Fine. I represent Lance Goldner. Lance Goldner, in the last 6-7 years, has built 71 apartment units within 50 to 75 feet of the proposed stage. This is an outdoor stage with an amplifier. There is no way that this will not affect his property. You can turn the stage around and you could send it over to the ocean, but that noise is not going to stop at that property line. It's affecting his property rights. This is a different use from what is there at the present time, and I would urge you to turn this down. You don't want to have that kind of noise with bands and even television or outside dancing to take place next to housing units. It's got to affect his ability to rent the units over time. He has had people complain to him about the units, this noise coming into their units. There are people that like to go to sleep earlier, and then 11 o'clock, which is, I think the present statute says that they can play up till 11 o'clock. There are people in units that go to sleep before that time, and they have a right to go to sleep before that time. So at the present time, we have no decibel legislation, and as I understand it, the city attorney is working on a ordinance to present to you in some future time. But until we have that, we won't know what decibels could be used to shut down the noise. One other thing, Mr. Goldner was there first. This change is affecting his property. The burden would be on Murphy's to show that it isn't going to affect his property. And I believe that it will, and I think that you will agree with me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Starr.
Mr. Carrington?
I will be brief as that. Do you have an aerial view of this property? Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, I think that Mr. Fine has kind of misrepresented just how close those apartments are to. I think it's much more than 75 feet. I think it's a significant amount farther away than that. We haven't even had one event on the property yet, and they're already talking about what the issues are going to be and the noise is going to be. I think we're convicting him before he's even had the chance. And if you will read condition number 3, and this is one of the conditions that we have to agree to, the operation shall not disturb the tranquility of residential areas or other areas in close proximity or otherwise interfere with the reasonable use and enjoyment of neighboring property by reason of excessive noise, traffic, lighting, or overflow parking. Mr. Mooney has already expended a significant amount of money for this process that he's going through. It would be in his best interest to comply with that condition so that his use permit will not be revoked if he doesn't comply with that, not to mention the fact that a lot of the residents that are around that area are probably already customers of his. He doesn't want to do anything that's going to infuriate any of his existing customers. We have got some significant conditions in this staff report that we have to comply with, or otherwise his use permit could be revoked.
Any questions, Mr. Moss?
I appreciate that condition number 3, but excessive is an adjective, which generally doesn't stand up well in court as to what it means, and I think all of us know that. So I'm interested and maybe you can't answer this question, but the operational definition of that such that the city knows what it's trying to enforce, because excessive is like in the eye of the beholder, and that generally doesn't do well in court in Virginia very well that I've seen. I know that sound is energy.
Correct.
And so, while I'm not an expert on acoustics, I have a pretty good background about acoustics. So if you're moving energy, that dissipates over time, and high frequency is different than low, so you're playing that bass thing that's a much longer, energy intensive, long, so you have dissipation over space, and you have absorption by the structure itself. So what I'm struggling with is, when you say excessive and they're saying it's a danger, there's a structure. That moving, someone says, I got that Marshall amp with 400 watt speakers in it, and I know a little bit about music. And that's on number 5 is not the same thing as when it's on 8 or it's on 2. So that's energy, 400 watts of music moving over a distance. It dissipates at some point, and the structure itself has absorption capacity. So I'm after, when you have your iconic design people and looking at that, what is the actual characteristics and attributes that you're agreeing to, that you agree that if it does this, that constitutes excessive? That should be an objective fact, not an adjective. So I'm wanting to understand what your client thinks excessive, what that means, because excessive by itself doesn't mean anything.
And if we had somebody from Iconic Design here tonight, they might be able to answer that question for you, but unfortunately, they're not here.
Yeah, well,
And again, we're just going by what the staff report. The staff says excessive noise. So, and you're right, that is.
I'll ask a question to the staff when it's their turn.
Okay, Mr. Tower?
I just wanted to point out, I want to ask one question, just there seems, and maybe this ought to be directed to Mr. Tahan, Mr. Garrington, I apologize. I'm just looking at the recommendation and the commission's vote. Item number 5 says a parking validation agreement for at least 8, and then it has the number 13 in parentheses. I assume that's a typo.
No, it's 13, correct? Yeah, we have a parking agreement with the 31st Street Tower to provide 13 parking.
So instead of 8, it should
It's
be
13.
13.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, I thought so. All right. The other is, I just want to make sure we understand what we're doing here. This is for alternative compliance, and there are some rules about it. And it says the city council shall also consider the potential impacts of the proposed deviation. This is a deviation, that's why we're here tonight, on surrounding properties and the extent to which any adverse impacts from such deviation can be mitigated. And I appreciate the efforts that you've made. Number one, I want to just say up front, I'm not opposed to this project. I'm just concerned that we don't have a functional ordinance right now to enforce sound things. And while this is perhaps a noble attempt to fill in the gap, as Mr. Moss points out, I just don't think it does the trick. It certainly gives the council something to work with if we really got down on the operator, but I still don't think it's useful. That's not your fault or your client's fault, but I'm thinking going into this season where we're not at the prime time season, although I realize we're trying to extend the season, and I support that as well. But given the what we know about the city attorney's plan to come up with a new ordinance, which I know nothing about, I really have no knowledge of that. I'm going to suggest deferring the matter for 90 days, say, until we can get that ordinance out and judge this in the context of what we can do on sound protection. This is not on the ocean front. It's off the ocean front. It's on the west side of Pacific Avenue.
That's correct.
It is close to a number of residential units. It is in a gateway, and it's in an area that I'm very familiar with, and I want to see prosper and flourish and have a variety of things to do for the people that are going to be already committed to be moving in. I'm sure most of these places that are being built now are being leased up as fast as they can, given the demand. But they're not going to stay there unless we've got places for them to go, and in addition to the tourism. So I want to make it clear, I'm not opposed to the development, but I do have concerns about Mr. Goldner's tenants, and I'm not trying to imply any bad faith on anybody's part. I just am very worried that we don't have an effective standard right now, and I'm wondering if we can wait and get this in front of us before we have to take action on this. So
I would second that motion if it's a motion.
yeah.
Oh,
I want to give Mr. Garrison just a chance to react.
Oh, okay. I was going to make a comment if you had a motion on the floor.
Yeah, Mr. Moss.
Well, I love phones and Google. Isn't it great? So you look here, it says the acceptable indoor noise level for residential areas inside is 45 decibels. So to me, I don't really care about some abstract standard, but if when your music's playing and someone's inside one of those apartments and the noise that's inside, and I guess you can control if I turn everything else off, a noise level in the apartment reads more than 45, then your noise is higher than what the Department of the federal government says is acceptable indoor noise level. So to me, I don't know what we're going to do here today, but that is something you can objectively measure. You can go in there, everything else is off. You put a meter on, if it's more than 45 decibels and it's too loud, then you got to say, well, what's the source? I know that's the issue, the source of the noise, but I'm just saying when we start looking at this, and as the city attorney's listening, this is what is objective. Because now you're tying it to somebody who's tied it to a exposure and a health standard, and then someone can objectively measure it. I really like your application. And I probably, if we had some way to conditionally grant it and then go back and fix some of these things, how we could do that, I'd be amenable, because then you're saying you would live by that scientific standard. Because in the end, that's what's enforceable in a court of law, not adjectives. But I see that Mr. Stiles wants to make a comment.
Well, I don't want to make a comment if the council doesn't want me to, but I do want to
would like-
clarify.
Yeah, by all means.
I do want to clarify that we do have a noise ordinance that has objective standards. That ordinance has, the police department has found it very difficult to enforce, and frankly, I think the public would tell you that it's not effectively enforced. Right now, Section 2369 of your code creates a maximum sound level for residential dwellings. Between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., that's 55 decibels when measured inside the residence at least 4 feet from the wall nearest the source, with doors and windows to the receiving area closed. Now, the problem is that most of the time people don't want the police department coming into their home, usually into their bedroom, standing 4 feet from the wall and measuring the sound level, if, in fact, the sound is still even going on when the police arrive there with a sound meter. The daytime limit is 65 decibels, and then there is a separate provision for restaurants. That provision is Section 2372. No person shall permit, operate, or cause any source of sound or create a sound level emanating from a restaurant during the hours between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. in excess of 80 decibels, or between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. in excess of 75 decibels, when measured from any public area, including but not limited to any public streets, sidewalks, or other public property. So we have a definition. It's just that in practice, we're finding it difficult to utilize.
Well, that gets back to my point, because when we're doing something here, we're giving the, and I'm not speaking anything ill about your property. I'm trying to figure out how to solve the problem. Because if we know propagation noise is energy, there can be sensors on the perimeter of your property knowing how much energy is, and I know acoustic people iconic should know this, when it leaves that property, it has a certain energy level. It's a physics calculation to know the dissipation You know the thickness of the walls of the buildings. You even know how much of that energy absorbs. So you don't have to have inside measurements of a structure to do what is a physics calculation of energy. And so I'm just saying, maybe you might want to go back and talk to how we can get there, because then you know the noise level leaving your perimeter of your property. And that is a doable thing. And then we can move forward, and we know comfortably that people might say they have something, but we know it's not attributable to the property. I'm not saying you can get there. I'm just saying it is truly just a physics problem.
Okay, Ms. Henley?
Well, I will just say that I've been wrestling with a problem in the Princess Anne district that is a restaurant that, and I won't name it, but anyway, I think maybe we're going to have a repeat of this because restaurants moved outside during the pandemic and they found out that that's neat. People like to eat outside, but now they want to have live music outside. And that gets to be a problem because from what I have been experiencing with the one that I keep getting complaints about every weekend, we don't have any regulations. And this 3, the operation shall not disturb the tranquility of residential areas or other areas in close proximity or otherwise interfere with the reasonable use and enjoyment of neighboring property by reason of excessive noise, traffic, lighting, or overflow parking, all of which, except for the lighting, have been complaints that I've been getting, but we seem to have no ability to enforce anything. This particular property down there, by some rezoning done back in the 60s, I guess, happens to be B4, so apparently anything goes, and it's a problem. But up until the pandemic, this restaurant was a very acceptable restaurant that didn't disturb anybody, and they had music, but it was all inside. But once you start moving the music and the entertainment outside, you've got problems as far as noise. And I can just tell you that from the experience I've been having, you've got a challenge. I mean, if you can figure out how to do it by putting in all the things that you agree to put in, that maybe will control it. But I can tell you this other place isn't having any success.
Mr. Tower, would you be amenable to a 30-day deferral rather than 90 days? At least if we can get the information back to you in time, it gets him.
Well, here's my problem, Mr. Carrington. I want to see what is coming up. I want to coordinate this, if you will, with whatever we do about the sound, if I possibly can. And I understand that's an interference with business, and you kind of just are at the timing is wrong. But that's my concern. Is I want to make sure that we are doing the right thing here. I don't want to have to come back. I don't want to decide what's excessive. I want there to be a standard that we all could agree to. This is the standard, and you comply with it. Right now, certainly nobody in the city is going to tell you that we don't have an enforceable ordinance, but we'll come pretty close to telling you that by saying the public doesn't think we do, and the public has had some pretty good experience with this. So I'm just trying to get it. I don't know exactly when, and I don't want to pin him down too much. I was going to say indefinitely, frankly, because that's really the marker for me, is I'd like to see this ordinance, make sure we coordinate with that. And I was hoping, given that we're moving into the latter part of fall, that we could, weren't taking away any spring, summer kind of stuff from you by doing that.
Okay, so Mr. Rouse.
I was just going to let you know your client may want to work with you, so you may want to confer with your client.
Okay.
No, he really wants you.
Okay, now, come on forward.
This is Mr. Mooney. He's the owner of the operation.
Yes, we've had live entertainment outside over the last 5 years, and we haven't had any complaints.
Okay. Could I say something? And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Tower. I'm really bothered about this notion of an indefinite referral. And I'll tell you why. I went out there. And they've been outside for a while, especially with the COVID. And now it's my understanding now they had a stage out there, but what they're asking for is sound attenuation around the stage. And the sound attenuation is pointed at your building, correct?
Pointed southeast.
It's pointed right southeast, right at the building. And the other thing is, we have another establishment that is right in front of, the apartment that has music. And I think it's unfair, when we talk about fairness, to deny an application or put it on hold because of a regulation that, is going to be maybe somewhere in the future. It's unfair. Are we going to be open to business? Are we going to be a city of yes? They have done everything according to Hoyle to do this. They have had outside music. But, how many complaints have we have from our stage music to the Mayflower hotels and other thing? But I'm just saying, let's be fair here. They've done everything that they were supposed to do. And, at a great cost, building a sound attenuation around the stage and directed toward a building, not out there. And then you have another establishment just the other side of the Taco Bell that has entertainment, which is closer proximity. I just don't think this is fair, and I just hope somebody comes up with if Rosemary were here, I'd be passing the gavel.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Yes,
could.
sir.
I appreciate your sentiments, and my questions, if I'm only looking at the things they're proffering, if we can't enforce it, then the proffer should be removed because we're giving the public a false sense. Would I still vote for this application? Probably yes. But when people say they're making a proffer, I think we have an obligation to know if it's enforceable or otherwise we are making a false representation to the public. So I'm more than happy to vote for this application, but I do not believe that as good as your intent, and I'm sure you will honor that independent of that even being in writing, because I think that's the kind of person your client is. But I don't want to give the appearance to the public that we can enforce something that we can't.
No, I understand that.
And again, if we don't agree with, comply with that condition, he loses his use permit, which means that he has expended a significant amount of money for nothing.
True, but there's a legal standard we have to meet to do that, and based on that vagary, we cannot meet that standard. That's all I'm saying. It's a false representation, well-intended, but not legally enforceable.
Yeah,
It's not being enforced. Well, I'm just saying, I want to see this enforced, because what I've been getting calls about, it's not enforced. So if this is enforceable, somebody should enforce it. But unfortunately, I guess this other place doesn't have to comply with this, but anyway.
I'm a yes vote.
And if I could ask, you had no complaints and you've had outside music already?
All the way back to 2018, as far back as the second precinct's records go, we have had 0 noise complaints against Murphy.
And so what you're trying to do is put a sound attenuation that is actually in full consideration
Correct.
of the residential neighbors?
Correct.
Okay?
Thank you for that direct examination, Mr. Mayor. You did an excellent job. If I might just point out that a motion to defer this is not a motion to defeat it, that other members of council have raised similar issues about and have similar concerns about it. I think you're overreacting, Mr. Mayor. Your tone of voice and your statements, the content of them, suggest that you have an opinion on this, which I'm glad to have, but you're the presiding officer, and I'd appreciate your acting as such. I'm just suggesting that we defer this matter until the city attorney's proposal for an enforceable, and I'm sure that city attorney's going to propose something that he believes is enforceable, an enforceable sound level that we have, notwithstanding that we have existing ones that we could attempt to enforce, but we know we got problems with those, that we do that just to suspend it. That, as you point out, Mr. Mayor, the sound goes on. I've driven by it many times. Their performance is there. There was one, I think, last night or the night before. Yeah, it's not an interference with the operation of this business, including the outdoor sound. The more elaborate sound system with to give our blessing to it on a continuing basis, despite what we may do about pandemic-related outdoor music. I'm just saying I think it's a good idea, and I appreciate the applicant's efforts that have gone into it. I appreciate the mayor's comments about it, but I'm just expressing my opinion, and I will move to defer this. And I will not defer it for 30 days because I'm confident that the city attorney's not going to come up with something that we can look at in 30 days, but I'm happy to reword it to suspend it until that time, but I was willing to put a time limit on it rather than do it indefinite, just because I didn't think it was fair to make it indefinite, but I'm happy to do it.
Mr. Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was listening to Mr. Tower, wanting him to finish his thoughts. I'm trying to understand the timetable for deferment. You say you're amenable to 30 days, perhaps 60 or 60 days. I'm trying to understand what is that?
Well, again, I assume if we don't have an ordinance in front of us, but it's still at work, and the time comes and it's in the middle of the winter, I'm likely to move for a further deferral, but I'd certainly start with a deferral for 60 days. It would be acceptable.
For how many days?
60. Is that 60, Mr. Tower?
Yes, sir.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I think your city attorney wanted to say something,
Okay,
or maybe he didn't.
okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, yes.
Mr. City Attorney, I keep hearing about an ordinance going to be written, but apparently you're saying that it's already in place, and we just dealt with it in a neighborhood locally, and I don't know how it was enforced. So am I correct in saying that?
There is an ordinance in place. The ordinance was crafted after the Virginia Supreme Court upheld a ruling of our local circuit court striking the former ordinance down as unconstitutional. The ordinance that is in place has enforcement difficulties. Noise enforcement is one of the most vexing issues that local governments face. I will tell you that I can have an ordinance draft. I'm working on a work group with the city manager's office, and we've been working on it now for some time. It's not an issue of not being able to craft something and get it to you in any specified number of days. The issue is that not everyone will agree, and this council may not agree. It's a complicated issue. In fact, Mr. Moss's comments suggest that he will like the ordinance that we were contemplating putting forward much less than he likes the words on the paper right now, because most jurisdictions are going with an audible and discernible standard, which doesn't have a specific decibel-based limit. So I guess what I'm saying to you is the time frame here is not on my office to get you something in writing. It's on this body's ability to digest it and to conclude whether or not what we present to you as an alternative is the right alternative. And that is a policy choice that you make. I don't make that choice. I just give you options. Much like we gave you options on SDRs and we saw how long that took. And I don't mean that flippantly or disrespectfully. I'm just trying to be honest and upfront with you. Noise regulation is very complex, and I can't promise you that you'll have an ordinance in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days that you're prepared to adopt in lieu of the one that you have.
Okay, Ms. Henley.
We've been talking about the fact that our noise ordinance is very difficult for years. So maybe it's time for us to start looking at something to see if we could come up with something. I know it comes up often, that, people have concerns and they realize that, what we've got isn't really something that can be utilized. So I think we've been talking about it long enough that maybe we ought to at least just see something and see if we can come up with something.
And we are
not just in relation to this particular application, but in general, because it has been a recurring thing for years.
Yes, ma'am, and we understood that we had an obligation to do that, and we have been working towards that. I guess the point of my comments, which I didn't make very clearly, is I can't promise you a timeline, and therefore tying the timeline to this application to your timeline for consideration of a new ordinance is question. I mean, it's a difficult proposition.
Okay, Mr. Tower.
I'm struggling here to try to think what to do. I think I would suggest that we defer it for 60 days with the, I mean, I'm happy to work on I just don't think this paragraph 3 is effective. I just don't think it's anything we can enforce. I'd like to come up with something that we can, and I'm willing to try to do what I can, although this is not certainly no area of expertise on mine. But I do have some concern about it on an ongoing basis and precedent and that sort of thing. So I want to try to get it right, and I just don't think this is right where it is. But I would renew my motion to defer for 60 days, see if we can work on this condition, and maybe let the lawyers tell us what they're working on, and maybe we can come up with something that would
Mr. Jones
satisfy
and then
everybody.
Mr. Branch.
We have a second to the
I'm
motion.
sorry, I should have asked this question before the motion was made, but, Mr. Fine, could I ask Mr. Fine a question?
Yes.
Can somebody, can you put that previous picture up there? That was up there.
The overview.
Can you show me where the property is that you're representing, Mr. Fine?
Tommy, give me some help here.
Maybe my client, Mr. Colner, can show you.
Oops, I think I'm changing the,
We're like 50 feet across the alley, less than 50.
Can you show us on the map?
Hold on,
think
I'll get it.
Quarter of the property.
I think I changed the
Yes,
picture,
you
I'm
did,
sorry.
it's fine. We'll take this away from you.
That'll teach.
This is us here, and this is them.
That's a weird.
Thank you.
And it matters how many pieces of.
Oops, sir. You haven't been acknowledged to speak, sir. All right. Okay, Mr. Jones, did you have any
I'm
other?
finished, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Branch.
Well, I was just going to say, from reading the verbatim, the complaint seemed to be coming from another establishment, Chicho's. And I just have a problem with this applicant paying for the sins of someone else. So, I mean, I don't know if anything, Mr. Tahan, was done about, you were asked at the Planning Commission if we were looking into that issue. Has anything been done about that particular problem, or?
We had looked into it to have the zoning inspector go out, but again, the noise ordinance is enforced by the police department. So we had forwarded that on. I don't know if my staff has gotten an update on that particular property.
I mean, according to the verbatim, Mr. Goldner says it goes on till 2 o'clock at night over there at Chicho. So I'd like to get back at some point, because that seems to be the problem.
And Mr. Branch, I didn't want to mention that
That's right, that was
establishment.
verbatim.
I agree, it was in the verbatim. But that's the reason why we went to the police department and said, hey, tell us how many complaints you've got directed specifically at us, nobody else. And they said not one single noise complaint.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion for a deferral for 60 days on the thing. Any other discussion? I can't support that.
1 second.
After I got the orientation, I just don't see how the noise cone from that site, assuming rock music or country music's 90 to 100 decibels at its peak, usually, unless you're really ranking it up, I just don't see how the acoustic propagation from there would be generating that much energy at those apartments.
By a vote of 6 to 4, you have deferred this for 60 days, which will be December the 7th,
6 to 5.
2021.
Wasn't it 6 to 5? You said 6 to 4?
It was, what did I say? I'm sorry.
It's only 10
Did I say
people.
6 to 4?
Yes, it was 6 to
It was 6 to 4.
Oh, I forgot the vice mayor's.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, members, thank you very much, and I hope you have a good day.
thank you. All right, moving on to the second item, Virginia Beach Development Authority, Virginia Beach LLC, conditional to replace design criteria portion for corporate landing business park.
We have 2 speakers. The first speaker is Barbara Messner. The second speaker is Diana Plizga. Ms. Messner?
Gentlemen.
Good evening. Okay. Virginia Beach Development Authority. Virginia Beach Development Authority and FROB, F-R-O-B LLC. Modification of proffers to a conditional change of zoning, update design criteria, a portion of corporate landing business park. Okay. I live in this corridor. I've been there for over 25 years. The traffic is insane, and you just keep approving change in zoning and, you know, all this stuff. We need a light ordinance. Y'all are not in compliance with the national lighting ordinances. Why don't you look into Florida's noise ordinance? Because the people don't complain about noise because nothing is done. Nothing is done, so people don't complain. They put up with it. And Mr. Dyer, you go to all of the vibe districts, the entire city is nothing but loud music. And a lot of it, because I was just at Harris Teeter recently, is coming from the 31st Street Park. We lease that park and pay for the entertainment. So, and a lot of people, you know, the hours for noise, do you have any idea how many people work shifts that have to sleep during the day? You heard that from people on the short-term rentals. So we don't need, you know, the city blasting. The city is the biggest offender for the loud concerts. Should have built instead of the amphitheater, instead of all the money for the arena that didn't go through, which shouldn't have, should have built something centrally located, an indoor venue. It's not your job to entertain and fill hotel rooms. This is in, you know, everything affects us. When you have something in the water, you are using your school buses to send them from the amphitheater all the way across town. School buses, you didn't even block out the name Virginia Beach School Buses, and then the buses are late for the kids. I mean, you waste so much money and you're in the wrong business. You should be in private enterprise if you want to be real estate brokers and control everything. Thank you.
The next speaker is Diana Plizga. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, ma'am.
Hello.
I'm Diana Plizga.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. This is a little intimidating. I'm a preschool teacher. I can handle talking in front of 4-year-olds, but this is a little out of my realm. But I'm coming today to talk about the proposition of the industrial park, because it backs up to my backyard. Sorry. I'm imagining you're all 4 years old.
You might be right.
It's way easier. And I'm appreciating the fact that I can speak without being interrupted, which is a bonus for me. Right now, my backyard is beautiful. I have beautiful trees to look at. Sorry.
You're going to be fine. Take it easy. Deep breath and you're going to do fine.
I'm going to go over my time because I'm wasting it.
Just look at me and like you're talking to me. That's okay.
I've lived in this house for 17 years. My daughters grew up there and they're now away at college, which my students don't believe my kids are that old, which I say thank you. In my backyard, there's birch trees, there's evergreens, there's mountain ash, all kinds of deciduous trees. There's cardinal families, there's blue jays. I hear owls at night. There's squirrels that my dog loves to chase. This is all in my backyard. I'm pretty lucky when I tell people where I live. And my house is just a small little ranch home, but it's my little piece of property. I know on the other side of the fence it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the city. And I knew when I bought the house it belonged to the city. There wasn't plans to develop anything on it, and I every year was thankful that nothing was built on that property on. About a year ago or 2 years ago, I started getting the notifications, the postcards that the ordinance changed of what they were going to build there. I called the city planning department, I'm not sure who I spoke to, and I asked them what was going on, and they said that they changed it. It's going to be not residential, but for industrial park. And somebody told me that the building was going to be a data processing center. Is that correct? Something like that, which the person I spoke to a year ago said it also could contain some noise to the building. What they plan on doing, what they plan on doing is taking the trees down right behind my house and around to the cul-de-sac and adding a retaining pond right behind that, which is great because the street I live on floods. And 2 years ago, the people across the street from me, 7 houses got 2 inches of water in their homes. I was lucky because mine's a little further from the street and was raised. I was really lucky. It came right up to my driveway or garage. So they want to put a retaining pond, which is useful. And then on the other side of the retaining pond, they're adding a street off of General Booth.
Take a few more seconds. You found your rhythm.
Thank you. They're going to add a street off of General Booth for another entrance into the industrial park. And then from there is supposed to be, I believe, some sort of data processing building with a parking lot and lights. That's going to be my new view from my backyard. All the trees will be gone. And I'm not an environmentalist. I mean, I do care about the environment. But this is my little piece of Virginia Beach.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
You did fine. You got your.
I didn't get my whole point across, but
No, you did good.
I just want to say one last thing about trees. And again, I'm not an environmentalist, but you're adding a retaining wall or a retaining pond, but you're taking down trees to do that. And trees do 3 things.
Okay,
They retain water.
Thank you very much.
Just quickly,
We
please.
appreciate it.
They retain water. They deter wind.
Okay.
And they
Thank you
help the
very
air
much.
quality. And you're taking them all down,
Thank
just
you.
like you did on Princess
Thank
Anne
you.
Road
Appreciate it.
and building a Royal Farms that nobody wants.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, at this point, do we have a motion on this?
I think I'm making the motion correctly. We're going to defer this to the November 9th meeting so that the proffers can reflect that we are not changing the setbacks adjacent to residential neighborhoods or on adjacent to General Booth.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion? Motion to defer.
By a vote of 10 to 0, this application has been deferred till November the 9th.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, JTR LLC and JTR LLC, Bayliner Buildings LLC, and Shore Drive area properties, raised street closures and partially improved and unapproved portions of right-of-way known as Clipper Bay Drive, approximately 26,414 square feet, and Ocean Tides Drive, approximately 12,252 square feet in Bayside.
The first speaker is Lisa Murphy. After Ms. Murphy is Barbara Messner.
Okay, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, city attorney, city manager, city clerk, and staff. For the record, my name is Lisa Murphy. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicants, JTR LLC, Bayliner Building LLC, Shore Drive Area Properties, and MP Shore LLC. The applicants, as you may know, requested that these items, all 4 of them, 2 street closures, a conditional rezoning, and a conditional use permit application be withdrawn. I'm happy to stand by to answer questions. I understand there are a couple of speakers who want to speak to the withdrawal. If council doesn't decide to allow us to withdraw these applications, I'm prepared to provide you a full presentation on all 4 of these applications. So I would.
Okay, are there any questions? You know, the motion, the suggestion is, you know, the applicants would like to withdraw, and that would be item 3 and item 4, correct?
Mayor.
Okay.
Do we have speakers, so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay,
All right, I'll
thank you,
stand by.
Barbara Messner, And after Ms. Messner is Danny Murphy.
Okay. JTR LLC, JTR LLC / Bayliner Building LLC, and Shore Drive area properties for street closures of partially improved and unimproved portions of right-of-ways known as Clipper Bay Drive, 26,414 square feet. Ocean Tides Drive. You know, it's just unbelievable. We just talked about Virginia Beach Development Authority. Lisa Murphy is the attorney for the Development Authority, and she's the attorney for Wilcox Savage, and she's speaking for this. Does anybody see what's going on here? Anyway, I'm opposed. I've lived in lots of places in my 40 years here in Virginia Beach. You know, that area is near the fishing center, which is now gone. Just uncontrolled growth over there. And, you know, I'm in opposition of, you know, taking land for private developers. Do you want me to, so there's other speakers?
One other speaker.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
The next speaker is Danny Murphy.
Good evening, Danny.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Danny Murphy. I'm the president of the Ocean Park Civic League. I'd like to thank you all first for taking our concerns in consideration, the ones who did engage with us. I appreciate it very much. Appreciate the city staff who has been very professional. I would like to tell you that we fully support the withdrawal of the application. We are encouraged to work with the developers and owners moving forward to look for a project that will be a win-win for all of us. And then the only thing I'd like to say is I would encourage you maybe to look at the enhanced public engagement proposal that I believe Councilmember Rouse and Henley put forward. I think that would save us a lot of trouble and a lot of concern and provide you with some great assistance going forward.
Danny, thank you very much. Any questions, Ms. Henley?
Thank you for remembering that.
It's a very good proposal.
So you did review that?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that's something that you think would work well?
Yes, I think
Okay,
I think it would
pull it
be
back up again.
I think it would be very good for the council and also for the residents. I've spoken with a number of you. I think there's some disconnect, and I think that would certainly aid you in both hearing the concerns and also educating and informing the residents.
Danny, thank you very much for your willingness to move forward and engage in the dialogue. Really
Thank you. And again, I do thank the owners and the developers, because I think we can move forward and look for something that'll be great for all of us.
Music to our ears. Thank you, Danny.
All right, bye-bye.
That's all the speakers, unless Ms. Murphy, if you'd like to come up for rebuttal.
Just for some levity, neither Danny nor I are related, and neither one of us run Murphy's Pub, so just.
I guess Murphy is the common thing tonight. And Mr. Tower, I'm going to take you to Murphy's when this is all resolved.
I'll take you to Murphy's.
Oh, there you go.
That's all the speakers, sir.
All right, that is great. Mr. Jones, you have a motion on item number 3.
Yes, I'd move for, to allow the withdrawal.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, Mr. Moss?
Just a declaration, not a discussion. You know, as this project evolved, there was some discussion, there might be something involved with Dominion Energy. And as I've mentioned many times to this council, when I've abstained because I do receive more than $5,000 of dividends from my Dominion Energy investments, So therefore, I always seek out an opinion from the Commonwealth Attorney. And I just wanted to read the bottom part, not the whole letter. That would take up too much time, but it'll all be on file for anyone who wants to read it. But this is from Colin Style. Accordingly, it is my opinion that you do have a personal interest in the transaction due to a reasonable, foreseeable benefit or detriment to Dominion as a result of the approval or denial of the project by the Virginia Beach City Council, my interest being the shares and dividends in excess of $5,000. Despite this personal interest in the transaction, it is also my opinion, that being Colin Stolly's, not my own, that the exception in 2.2-3112B Bravo 1 applies that would permit you to participate in discussion and voting as long as you comply with the requirements of 2.2-3115 Hotel by declaring the transaction involved in the nature of your personal interest, which I have done, affected the transaction, that you are a member of a group, Dominion Energy shareholders, and that you are able to participate in the transaction fairly objectively and in the public interest during each meeting at which the transaction is discussed, and I do so declare.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Okay, anybody else at this point? The vote is open. We got the motion in the second.
Councilmember Tower, thank you. By a vote of 10-0, you have allowed the withdrawal of application JTR LLC, number 3 on the planning agenda.
Are there any speakers on number 4?
Yes, sir.
Hey, we're together.
Well, same speaker, so Ms. Murphy.
Yeah, we got to vote on them
Okay.
separate.
Ms. Murphy, would you like to come?
Yeah, we got
back up?
speakers on it.
Good
You're on
evening
overtime,
again.
don't worry about
Good
it.
evening again. For the record, Lisa Murphy, local attorney with an office at 440 Monticello Avenue. We are also requesting that these, item 4, which is the conditional rezoning and the conditional use permit applications, be withdrawn. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Still no interest in Murphy's Pub, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms.
All right.
Master?
Good evening. I'm a little confused how Dominion was involved in the last vote. But I think saying investment of $5,000 when it's, $250,000 or more is deceptive. And I think there should be transparency here. Okay, this one is slightly different, and I appreciate the work by Shore Drive. I wish they'd been successful on some of the other projects. This one's conditional change of zoning from PDH1. That's something I haven't heard of before. PDH 1, 1. And B2, business 2 districts, and conditional B4, mixed use, conditional use permit, multifamily dwellings. 3829 and 3785 Shore Drive, and adjacent parcels between Marlin Bay Drive and 3829 Shore Drive, Bayside. This has been discussed in various forums for quite a while. But, we have uncontrolled growth in the city, and the developers, the planning people work for the developers. It's ridiculous. You appoint planning, and they work for the developers. They even say that they do everything they can to help them with short-term rentals and everything. Who looks out for us? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Murphy? Excuse me.
Hello again.
Again, Danny Murphy, Ocean Park City Civic League President. I would just like to reaffirm our support for the withdrawal, and also let you know that I know there's a lot of Murphys in here right now. And you know why we always fight amongst ourselves, right?
Murphy's Law.
No other worthy opponents. Thank you.
That's all the speakers left.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Jones.
Move to allow withdrawal.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We got a second. Mr. Branch, vote's open.
Mayor, I have to make,
Yes.
I have to make the same declaration again. I apologize, but.
We can't use the
City
videotape, huh?
City attorney gave me the body language, and I have to state it, so I'm going to go through that. Accordingly, it is my opinion, being this Commonwealth attorney, that you do have a personal interest in the transaction, which is my equity interest in Dominion Resources. It generates income in excess of $5,000 in dividends. As a result of the approval or denial of this project by the Virginia Beach City Council, despite this personal interest in the transaction, it is also my opinion, Commonwealth attorney, that the exception to 2.2-332 Bravo applies and would permit you to participate in discussion and voting as long as you comply with the requirements of 2.2-3115 Hotel by declaring the transaction involved the nature of your personal interest, which I have done, affected by this transaction, that you are a member of groups, which is a shareholder in Dominion Energy, that are affected by this transaction, and that you are able to participate fairly objectively in the public interest during each meeting in which this transaction is discussed. I hereby so declare.
Oh, thank you, John. Okay. Vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, you've allowed the withdrawal.
Okay, thank you. Okay, at this point, we have no announcements. Is there any unfinished business? New business. Thank you all. We are adjourned.
Be safe.